Nothing. It says whatever you want to make it mean.
Everything.
Yeah, it's whatever you want to make it mean.
So we're gonna, to give people that are showing up 3 minutes late, time to get here before Highland does their thing. I'm gonna skip ahead just a little bit with them. We're gonna come back to Highland in just a second. We're gonna start with our announcements. So next week, we've got Josh Wagner and D.L. Horton will be here. He was here about a month ago or so he's gonna be here next week. Don't forget about the docent training online. It's really interesting. It's video stuff. It's easy to go through.
It's just a 3.
There's 3 courses there, but like the first one, the basic one is 18 hours.
Oh, wow.
And these are
For the new agent, but
these
is
are-
it good to watch it anyway?
It is. There's,
Okay.
I went through it and I was like, yeah, that's a great, I had forgotten about that part. And I
Okay.
had several people tell me the same thing. So this is something that we're providing as a brokerage to everyone. If you've got an hour, go watch the video. I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything and it's great training. It's a lot like Buffini's 100 Days to Greatness, some of the things that that she's talking about, but it's in a much more relaxed situation. It's one lady in front of a camera instead of Brian presenting to the world. You know what I'm saying? It's
But
much
we
more,
have that for a while, right? It's not like.
this is from now on,
Okay.
until we cancel it, but
I
for
still have
now.
my SAEs, and that's a lot of hours.
Yeah, that's fine. Do your essays, but this is just something you could do on the side. Now, you guys know John Lozinski out of Bell County. You've probably heard us mention him at least. He's coming in town and playing Friday night
Oh, good.
with, he told me, what did he tell me?
Friday
Chris
night,
Colston. He's playing with Chris Colston at the Rhinestone Saloon, which is in the west side of the Stockyards at 9:30. My senior Todd is playing with
Did you say late?
Southern Chrome at Billy Bob's Thursday night and Friday night. So I'm going to see Todd at 8, and then I'm going to jump over and try to see John around 9:30 or 10.
Are you gonna be there? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm going to be at Billy Bob's and then over at the Rhinestone Saloon because Todd Brewer, the guy that I played with, is subbing for Southern
you?
Chrome. Huh?
Just you?
No, Missy will be there
Okay.
and Todd's family and stuff. So everybody will be at Billy Bob's Friday night, but then we're going to jump over and see them. John Wolf is playing Friday night at Billy Bob's. Do you know John?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's playing Friday night
That's
at Billy Bob's. They're opening up for him. So, okay, let's go ahead and do our core value. So one thing that we have seen in the last couple of weeks is everybody has issues. It's okay. Everybody's gonna have issues. I have issues. That's just the way this business works. What we like to see is we like to see this. We never bring a problem without bringing and trying at least one possible solution. We are problem solvers, not problem identifiers. We encourage critical thinking and a proactive approach to handling issues. While asking for help is encouraged, it must be done in the context of also thinking of solutions on your own. Before we bring an issue or problem to a team member, we first think of ways to solve it. It's great if you tell me, hey, I thought of these 2 or 3 things. What do you think about these 3 things? Jamie, would you like to speak into that? Since you probably wrote that core value, is there anything you would like to speak into that?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts on this one. I think, but part of the reason we wrote this was a couple reasons. I think the first is the difference between like a leader and a doer is leaders solve problems. And like so much, even with my kids, they'll come up to me and be like, hey, Dad, this thing's wrong. Hey, I can't do this. And I'm like, telling me that? Are you pointing at the problem, or like what? How do you solve it? Do we solve it? And the other thing that was like a big epiphany for me, that I tell like almost any new person that comes on the team that's like an employee is like how you get paid in life and the status you get is generally tied to like the size of the problems that you solve. And so there's a reason like brain surgeons make way more money than I make. It's because they're solving way more complex problems. And the reason like the president is is he's solving bigger problems. Like if you want to move up in an organization, if you want to move up in life, you want to make more money, you solve bigger problems. And so I think part of that is like there's a mentality of like I'm made to solve problems. I can solve problems. And so I think part of this is like we still want you to come for help. Like we don't want you to like be afraid where you're like, I don't want to ask for help because I have this core value. Some we do, but we want you to come to the table with like, hey, here's what I think the solution is. but I would love your wisdom,
Right.
Mr. Brian. Give me some of your guidance.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest one is just like I think that we have an aversion to problems, and I think there's like a mindset shift that has to happen of like I'm made to solve problems, capable of solving problems. Like I grow by solving problems. I don't know, but
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think that's a great spin on what we try to do and how we try to do that as a team. You know, and you guys have heard me say that so many times is, yes, it's a six-step family, but we're a team. We choose to be together as opposed to being born into a situation where I have to be stuck with Andrew my whole life. I choose to be stuck with Andrew. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that like the cool thing about our Slack and our community is like I love like I got a problem and everyone jumps in and it helps and like I think it's a special thing about what we do and the willingness to all jump in.
Without shame, you can ask whatever. without
Yeah,
shame.
and I think like that should be
Well, I'll
encouraged.
make sure I start.
Yeah, for sure. And that should be encouraged, but it also like there is an element of like also like you can do it as well. So bring some of those solutions to it.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to back up now and we're going to get Highland Homes in here. This is Ginger and Todd. Are y'all ready?
Hello.
Okay.
Thanks for
Look
having
at
me.
that. It's like,
Sounds like a show.
Please,
Ginger
please,
and Todd
please,
show.
no,
really.
All right, here to tell you all about us, what's up these days. Todd, go ahead and talk about Walsh.
All right, so we have lots of inventory. Let's see here, pictures. We have lots of inventory, and I know we don't like inventory because it's quick closing and it's quick commission.
You get
You'd
money
rather
faster.
build. I get
this is
that.
Wildflower. I didn't get that. She didn't send me that one.
Oh, it's my fault. I didn't send it. Hey, but I do have, where are y'all?
They're over here. They can see.
They're up
Oh,
there.
okay. I've got all the paper ones here and I can send it out.
Just send me an email, Todd, and I'll put it in the thing.
Walsh, we have townhomes. We have 50-foot product and 60-foot product, inventory and everything. And here's the really cool thing. Have y'all been to our townhomes in Walsh?
Yes.
They're not for sale, the models.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we're selling those models, the ones that are right next to the amenity center. So if y'all have anybody that wants to be able in, 50 steps to be in the fitness center or at the pool, we've got them available right now. We had 4, we just sold 1 of the models. We have 3 remaining. Just a great opportunity. Those are on the under patio series. The bottom 4 are the models. It's just model. We have done some price reductions now that we have several completed inventory homes. 2 of them we have dropped. We reduced by over $100,000. Got some that are ready for immediate move in. One specific one, 14516 Mercer, which is under the 60s, the very first one under the 60s. That one we just reduced to 725. That one's 3,636 square feet. Big, beautiful home, 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths with a Jack and Jill bath, entertainment room, game room, 10-foot sliding glass doors, a kitchen to die for. So if you are doing social media, come out, video, shoot it. You will get this thing sold for us, and we'll all make money together. Not only do we have price reductions, but we also have a lot of good financing incentives. Using Highland Home Loans, we've done a bunch of forward commitments where we bought a block of money to offer low rates. And right now, I think rates are around 7%. We've got a 5.99 fixed, and then the lender actually does a 2-1 buy down. So the first year is 3.99, second year 4.99, and then 5.99.
Sweet.
So yeah, it helps people step into it as well. They can afford a little bit more than what they would have otherwise. So just lots of opportunity. If you haven't been to Walsh lately, it is gorgeous. On-site schools, amenities, makerspace, parks everywhere, lakes, everything. We also are getting a new grocery store just right down the street. Don't hold me to it, but I heard from one of my other realtor friends that it's supposed to be a central market. So that would be awesome. And then, so I was told, because it's, I guess that HEB owns Central Market.
Yes.
And
So you're gonna make
HEB
sure
owns
we add
that.
a Central Market?
Well, there's HEB a little farther down already, So, yeah, so what I understood is they do the purchasing, so it's under the ATV umbrella, because everybody thought it was an ATV. And then also one of the big box home improvement stores, probably at Home Depot or something like that. So a lot is coming out there. It's just growing and growing. The values are increasing. So let's say, oh, and we still have our commission. Of course, that hasn't changed. So we have a 3% commission. We're taking care of that for you. So whatever it is that you need, we are here for you. If you just need a place to swing by and go to the bathroom, need a cold drink, need a place to meet somebody, we're a great partner. If you need to take pictures for headshots, whatever you need, we are here. We're a great partner. We just want to work with you and sell lots of homes together. Our friend Shawnette, who is over Tavola, we just reopened Tavola Park. Couldn't be here today, but just wanted to highlight that she just opened up. Lots of lots available. Great pricing. She starts out in the mid 400s. And Ginger can talk about Tavola since she used to be there.
I used to be there. It's at Bryant Irving and Chisholm Trail Parkway. Y'all know where it is, across from the post office. So location is everything there. It's a very nice neighborhood. It has a pool with cabanas, community building, and there's some trails throughout the neighborhood. So give her a shout if you have anybody for that area. I am now up in Wildflower Ranch, which is North Fort Worth. It has a Fort Worth address, but a lot of people think it's Justin. I sell 50s and 60s product. I have 1 stories, 2 stories. I have 2.5 pages of inventory homes. So good deal. We have 4 move-in ready. I have some for the summer, and I have a lot for last quarter. So if you have those people that are payment sensitive and we can work a buy down for them, give us a call. Let us run some payment scenarios for you. We have a quick way that we can do that. So if you say, okay, I have somebody who's telling me, because right now we're asking people, what is your ideal payment? Not what is your ideal price, right? Because it's more about payment. And then we show them what they can afford. So if you need us to run something like that, just say, hey, Ginger, they want to, or Todd even, they want to $4,300 a month, period. I'll say, okay, here's what that looks like for them. And that way,
Is it
Right.
Justin ISD?
no, it's Northwest ISD.
Oh,
Yeah,
high
grade
school.
school.
This is on-
It's Northwest
Northwest
High
High
School.
School.
We have an
Okay.
on-site elementary school. We have about 4 miles of trails, concrete and natural. We have Lazy River with the snack shack. It's pretty cute. And then under construction now is the new South Amenity Center. It's going to be this big pool with shaded cabanas, a community building where they're going to have an on-site HOA, lifestyle manager, and then they're talking about putting a little convenience store in there, which will be very nice for the neighborhood. Right down the road from Buc-ee's, quick access to I-35, so you can get everywhere pretty quick, and it's only about, and the outlet mall, and it's only like 25 miles to the airport, so great location. The neighborhood has a lot going for it.
When you say 50s and 60s products, like 50s and 60s age, is that what you mean?
No, that means a
Lot.
lot.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
thinking
so
like,
we have different floor plans, so some that can fit on 50s, 1 stories and 2 stories, 50 wide lots,
okay.
and then other floor plans that fit on 60 wide lots.
So it's 60 lots are 50-foot wide homes, 50-foot lots are 40-foot wide homes. So there's just a lot of different designs. Yeah.
I've got your buy down stuff here, and then
Thank you.
we've already got your other,
Wow.
Excellent.
there's your buy down rates for one, it's a 3-2, 1-2.
Yeah, 2-1 buy down,
2-1
5.99 fixed.
Yeah.
Now this is, of course, we always put the caveat as the money holds out. We buy that block of money. It's used Texas wide. We have been buying them, subsequent ones, as you know, every time. There could be some slight differences depending on what the rates are for that day, but we've been able to get this one for a little while now. Also, we'll tell you on our inventory sheet, my contact information is right here. So if you need anything, if you have questions, if you need me to run down and take pictures or, you know, whatever you need, that's why I'm here. If you can't be there and you need to show your buyers around, I'll give you a courtesy call, let you know what we talked about. But we're here to help. We're here to be a great partner. That's how our whole business has been built. Is with our realtor
Supporting you
partners.
guys.
Yeah.
Trying to help us all get the sale.
Susan, you should say since you're right.
Shawnette.
Shawnette, Hannah.
Shawnette Hannah, if you need me to text her cell phone information, we can have to do that.
So y'all have different, you got, that's a conventional product there,
We have
Yeah, we have
government also.
government.
and then you've got the VA FHA.
Yes.
And for cash buyers, how do you even?
Oh, we will just work a deal.
Yeah,
Well, this,
So of that, we typically have about $9,000 that we can use for outside lenders. But right now, we're just trying to make the terms work for you. So if we need to fiddle around and get something to work, we're gonna make it work.
And any incentives for buyers and other than this, like?
We always negotiate on.
Yeah, so that's the lender portion, and then we typically have price incentives. They vary by neighborhood. Mine, for example, is $25,000, but in this case, we exceeded that and went down over 100 on a couple of these inventory. The ones that are later inventory, we don't have. We have the $25,000 that we take towards that. Normally, it's used towards options, but on an inventory home, we just don't have because. Yeah,
And I would tell you this, if you've got a buyer and you're out looking at inventory homes, all buyers are different. So I always hate quoting my discretionary money because that buyer might want whole house shutters.
Yeah.
Or maybe they need a refrigerator, or maybe it's really important for them to have an epoxy garage floor, or I can make all of that work. And so but I like to structure, I like to find out the whole story, what it's going to take to get the home sold, and then I make magic happen. So try to be like, yeah, we can get a good deal. I don't know what the discretion is yet. Let's figure it out together, right? Be strategic, and we can make it look really good for your buyer. Make it look like a rock star in the process.
Well, we can't thank you guys enough for being our partners. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
Thanks
having us.
breakfast.
As always.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, John, yeah.
John, oh, you got John.
You have to be the bad guy. You have to pick the car.
Ah, I'll be the best.
Gonna be rich.
Okay.
Real quick, how is the market feel from y'all's perspective? Like out in Walsh, is it slower than last year? Is it busy? Like, what is it?
In the last probably 3 weeks, I've noticed a little bit of a slowdown, but I think that might have been just in preparation for the end of school. Everybody's focused on
Well, May is
graduations. Oh, Andrew. Hey, brother.
Hi.
Oh,
Hi.
yeah, so it's been a little bit slower, but last week we had a really good week, and so I think it's starting to pick back up again. People are, taking their vacations for the summer and all that. But I think people are through the graduations. They're going to try to get their new home purchased before school next year, and that usually takes 30 to 60 days. So, yeah, it's picking back up again.
A lot of the graduations are happening this week, so I'm just telling everybody, I think this week it should pick back up.
Yeah.
This week is just everybody trying to get.
We always have that
Come in.
slowdown.
Yep. Always.
Mhm.
Any questions over Highland or our neighborhoods or anything that
Do you have any multi-gen?
we have flex gen options on our builds where depending on what product line, it's like a second suite. We have some that have little kitchenette combinations.
Depends on the neighborhood and what product they're selling.
It's not like a next gen that Lennar had where it's like a whole separate apartment. It's part of the house,
Right.
but it's like a suite where, in-laws can live, separate shower tub, double vanities, big closets, things like
The
that.
kitchenette option would be.
A couple of them have that.
Okay.
I have them on 1 story and 2 stories.
and
Okay.
those 3-car tandem garage, they're true 3-car garages, shaped.
Yeah, it's a true tandem. To be a
Tandem
true
is
tandem, it has to be at least
just
36 feet deep so that it'll fit 2 full-size vehicles. All of ours are true tandems.
Okay.
Most people put their golf cart and storage and all that, but if they have 3 cars or a pet car, yeah, it easily fits it all.
Thank you guys again for coming.
Thank
All right, thank
Have
you
a
all.
good day. See you later.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
y'all. See you soon. We'll see y'all next month.
Yes, sir.
They're coming back in June. End of the month. Okay, let's go get our market update, and then we're going to do
That's
wins,
one of them.
lessons, mistakes, and shout outs. Thank you all for joining us online. You guys are absolutely welcome to show your face if you want to, or jump in with comments as we go. So let's talk about what's going on with the market. April saw new home sales rocket up almost 11%. Biggest monthly gain in 2 years. Buyers have more choices. Inventory rose by 9% for the year, and are getting better deals. Median sales price 2% below a year ago. Existing home sales slipped a tad in April, but more homes are listed. National Association of Realtors noted The highest inventory level in nearly 5 years, consumers are in a better situation to negotiate better deals. First American Data and Analytics reports that although home prices keep rising, the pace is slowing, noting the annual growth rate has slowed to its slowest level since 2012, underscoring the ongoing rebalancing in the market, which is, I think, what we've all wanted to see for a long time. If you're a buyer, if you're a seller, you're like, well, okay, it is what it is. In a bad mood, after the run-up in stocks since April 7th, traders took their profits, further motivated by Moody's downgrading the U.S. credit rating and threats of higher tariffs on imported iPhones in the EU. Major indexes fell. Moody's was just joining Standard & Poor's, who took similar action in 2011. We did get a drop in both weekly mortgage apps and April's leading economic index because it's May and April. That's what normally happens. We're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown if we start getting into something completely traditional. U.S. economy seems to be holding up. April new home sales surged, as noted above. Initial jobless claims remain well below recession levels and indicate May non-farm payrolls should show a fairly solid print. The national 30-year fixed mortgage rate inched up, but continued to stay lower than a year ago, which is fantastic news. Pending home sales this week, home prices, bed minutes, and inflation. Analysts expect the April pending home sales index of signed contracts on existing homes to dip slightly after moving up in March. Case-Shiller Home Price Index is forecast to show home prices rising at a slower rate. We'll look at the federal meeting that went on, the minutes from the Fed's May 6th, 7th meeting for signs of timing of future cuts. I've decided to take that slide out of my presentation of what they're predicting because it really doesn't matter what they do. We're going to get it baked into mortgage rates anyway. So I think I'm going to stop looking at what the Fed's rate is because it seriously doesn't directly impact us. It's that indirect where they lower, but our mortgage lenders have already baked it into the new rates. So they're watching it. We don't have to. So that's something I want to start doing. Okay, so I didn't pull today's because I wanted to do this. I want to show y'all where they are right now. So this is the mortgage rates today. We're at 6.97 on the 30-year fixed conventional. The 30-year FHA is down at 6.48. So if you've got an FHA buyer, it's down 0.5. That's just from yesterday. So that's where they're running right now. The jumbo's running 7.1. These are not bad rates. 6.5 on the VA. They're there. And you can always buy points down. That's the great thing about all of these. You can buy the points down, especially in this market. Okay. Business tip of the week. Always do the right thing for your client and employer, as well as for your family and friends, of course. Acting with integrity greatly reduces the number of things you'll regret doing, both professionally and personally. Fannie Mae forecasts 2025 will see 3.6% growth in home sales, even stronger growth next year, with sales predicting to surge 6.8% to 5.25 million homes, fueled by economic growth both this year and next. So these forecasts are telling us we're at a really great point for buyers. This is the time to be buying before this next acceleration of home prices, and there's a lot of inventory. We've got a lot of things available for the buyers. If you've got buyers, you've got people that are thinking about buying, now is the time to do that, for sure. Okay, so I've got one slide left, and that's it. We're going to talk about wins and mistakes and lessons and shout-outs. And we've had several people this week that had all of these. So if you want to if you guys want to come online, Victoria or Kaya, Kristen, Ashley, Maria, if any of you guys want to have something that you would like to talk about, let's talk about wins, mistakes, lessons, and then shout outs to team members or to other people that you would like to shout out.
Oh, I want to do a shout out. I had a buyer who was, in the verge of closing, and before we made an offer, I told her right after that, I'm going to be out of the country for 2 weeks. But she still decided to go for it. And lo and behold, she was going to close when I was gone. So, but I did ask Ashley to cover for me. So What'd they say? I mean, they said if you want things to happen, go on vacation.
Oh, well, no.
Yeah, lots of things were happening and, Ashley, managed it like a champ, so.
Thanks, Ashley.
Yay.
I had one last month, but I can't remember.
Anytime, Angela.
A kind of, I guess, a lesson for everybody. When I was with brokerage in between, we will not say their name. We did have to reach out to all of our listings, whether something was happening or not, just to touch base with them every single week. So I hold true to that, and so I have a listing right now and it's not doing great, but I followed up with him and just sent him, a brief text and just said, okay, this is the feedback that I received, just to kind of keep a weekly, because he was listed with somebody else. They made him stay in the contract even though he was like ready to leave. So anyways, he said, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I never even heard from my other agent for months. And I was like, wow. So that's just a lesson, for everybody, just to, even if nothing's happening, just touch base with these people, stay top of mind, even if, probably not gonna get an offer anytime soon, just a lesson learned for everybody, I think.
I think showing, to your point, having a conversation, I'm going to share this right now. So this is something that I've been sharing with people. You haven't been here for a couple of weeks, until the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This is something that I share with my clients every week, as I go back and I pull the comps and share it as a Google Doc.
Mhm.
And then I also show the showing stats and the broker-based showing stats for their zip code and their subdivision. And that's every Friday while somebody's listed. It's a constant conversation that I'm having with them through text messaging. And I just run it as a Google Doc.
A couple
Are
of
you
those
are you
people,
making
right?
that? Are you making that?
Yes.
Insane.
It's,
Because I do use the
Dude.
list report. I mean,
That's
that.
sweet.
List reports is great.
Yeah.
That's great on Mondays.
Okay.
This is on
Just
Friday
Friday,
morning.
So you have that double.
I get them on Monday,
How
I
do
do
you
on
do
Friday,
that?
every single week when they're listed.
Brian is the spreadsheet king.
you have a
These are
couple,
just
you have
Google Docs.
subscriptions, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the fanciest Google Doc I've ever seen.
It's all I'm doing is just screenshotting. I'm pulling stats from like Lake Country out.
Oh, those are screenshots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a matter.
the screenshots of what of-
Oh, no, it's not automated.
That's just one
Yeah.
screenshot.
This is
The other ones are
amazing.
automated though.
And you put the Zestimate on there too. That's kind of cool.
I put the Zestimate and the RPR value, and then I tell them what my current estimation of their
Oh, I
property
like
is worth.
that. Hey, Brian, tell me again which ones, which data do you pay for? Is it,
Showing times,
Showing.
showing time plus, there's a $15 that you can get their fish finder, their showing insights, I think they call it. But that's what I use because it's $15 and I have showing stats because that's the biggest for me. This one right here is the most important. Broker Bay is good because it gives you a whole zip code, gives you a really big picture. This is the same thing as what showing time does. So these two correlate, but this one breaks it down to the neighborhood. And that's what I want to see.
So you're helping manage their expectations
Absolutely.
about showing.
right, it's not how they feel, it's
Hey,
how
it's,
he feels.
hey guys, we're priced at 385. Everybody's showing up here at 415, but we've already proven that your house is not worth 415.
Right,
I do that from the outset.
right.
We'll look at, I mean, if you look at what in this particular case, the estimate is 362. RPR is 397. We're not at 415. There's no way. But that's where that neighborhood is showing. Okay, well, they're also showing down at 390 to 399 for 76179, just not that neighborhood. Because you're bringing it down to a zip code and then down to a neighborhood.
I agree. So it's street specific sometimes. So, okay, so your showing time data though is different than Broker Bay because they collect from different, right?
Oh, yeah, showing time is only their listings.
Right.
So let me go back to that real quick so I can show you.
Well, when you say correlation, so you
Well,
just look at
When I
what's
pull comp data from MLS, I'm pulling what the showing service is.
Right. So you add that as a thing.
I added that
Yeah,
as a tab.
That's good.
So I'm looking at Broker Bay. Here's all the Broker Bay stats. Those are those 5 houses. Showing time. This is the only one that is an actual comp for us. Here's their stats.
Okay, that's actually good.
And is your current estimate different than the current sales price?
It actually, this one actually is because this one's not active right now. This is one that I'm working with the people. We're going to buy something out in Hazel. But then we're going to list, and my current estimate is 385. But now next week it may be different because I'm going to go back through here and rerun these comps. I'm looking at this comp right here. This one started at 425. They dropped to 390. Well, for us to compete with them, we're going to have to be at 385.
Right.
And it's been on the market for 223.
That's what I was looking at.
223 days.
Something's wrong with it.
Well, they started too high.
They started way
Yeah.
tonight.
They started too high for the
Severa
market.
Ranch.
Huh?
Not in Severa Ranch.
No, this is actually in Lake Country,
Hills of Lake
Bravo Boat Club.
Okay. I have a question for you. So the first table that you have on the top, so let's say this is the first week. Do you do a cumulative then, or you just run like this is what happened last week? So therefore.
Here's the comps.
Got it.
And then on my MLS,
That safe search, man. That's the one I like.
so let me share this tab.
It keeps adding to that.
That is the most amazing thing I've seen. That's really good.
Okay, so this is the comps that you saw on that property. I keep it as a favorite search right here under Arbitrage comps. So these are the comps, and all I do is click this,
And that updates automatically.
and then
Nice.
there's your comps. And so then I just take and I cut right here, all the way over to this side, screenshot that, copy, go to Google Docs, paste, comps are done.
We have one that's 19. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Well, because it depends on what the size of my house is.
What size is it? Probably 2,000.
My house is around 2,100, I think, or something like that. So, but now, see, Glen Eagles, that's a different subdivision than Lake Country. It's right there beside it,
That's right.
but it's also that I've been to that house and it's not the same kind of house. So I have to temper what I'm showing because it has to be the same. But yes, I go through all of that data at 6 a.m. on Friday mornings.
So, okay, I have another question.
This wasn't supposed to be about me.
No, this is good.
We learn from the experience.
That's right. So whenever you give us the National Association of Realtors projections and all that, I mean, how do you temper that down to your experience? Because I find NARS is not really on point. That's just my personal opinion.
We have to look at a national standpoint, but then we have to put a Texas flair on it. That's the way I look at it.
Well, actually, zip code.
If you want to get micro, yes. But we have to look at the national headlines because that's what people are going to see. It's the same reason that we have to look at what the estimate is. We have to see what Zillow thinks it's worth because they are the biggest real estate marketing company in the world. Huh?
Yeah, I know they are. Yeah.
And so everybody is going to, if they're looking at a property, they're going to look at this estimate, no matter what. They're going to see it. So if I list a house for 385 and this estimate is 362, as soon as I list it, I go ahead and tell my people, look, I'm going to show you what this estimate is today. Here's a picture. It's 362. Now, the day I list your house for 385, that estimate magically is going to be 377. You're going to make $15,000 from Zillow immediately because Zillow doesn't have an algorithm that they can predict what every house in America will sell for. They tried 10 years ago. There was a $50,000 winner contest that they put out there. If you can come up with an algorithm to properly price every home in America, we will pay you for it. And they couldn't do it because it doesn't exist because there's too many market conditions, which is what I'm accounting
Too many
for.
variables.
What I'm accounting for is in my Google Doc is I'm telling people every Friday, here's a snapshot in time. I can't tell you, I mean, could I do it every day? Yes, but it doesn't change every day. Yeah. It just changes when we have something close and there's a comp that changes the value. So once a week, and then I'm hitting them on Monday with the showing stats from Zillow and from all these other things, List Track. Perfect. Because that's twice a week you're talking to these people. Yeah. And I just run a text thread with them, both sellers and say, here's the data. Yesterday I was bored, so I sent them some more information and said, hey, we haven't had a showing since last Saturday. Look at Tahoma Ridge. Nothing's changed. There's only been 4 showings and there's 16 houses So nobody got showings this week. You're not the Lone Ranger.
Right.
We're not overpriced yet because it's not provable.
But just that communication touch point is so, like, because when people hear silence, like, and a lot of us we're silent because nothing is happening.
Yeah.
So they're showing
Quiet.
something to do. But silence, they start assuming they're not working for me. They don't care. They're not doing anything. They're not like, and you may be behind the scenes doing stuff like, but just that communication touch point is so important because it's all about managing their expectations and perceptions.
Absolutely. That's why I do that. So that's what we were talking about for you. I mean, and these are great touch points because you're not really giving them anything new. You're just communicating, saying, hey, I'm watching this actively for you.
I'm not
Now, it gets a little,
I'm being cool, but I'm also watching it.
you know,
Yeah, well,
it can get a little overwhelming when you have people that listings are coming, you talk to somebody and they're thinking about putting on the market. Because right now I'm doing 12 of those every Friday morning.
I think, Brian, I think also it's a great way to just keep track of the market you're working, just for
Absolutely.
your own being. Yeah.
Absolutely agree, Ashley. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Because nothing kills a deal when you have like the house sitting because it's too high or just the market like, and then they get frustrated and then they like fire you, hire another realtor who does the exact same thing.
Exact same.
Yeah.
Like, but it's all about that. Like you're not doing it. Like they're not any better, but it's that communication, expectation management.
Danielle and I had many conversations about my little house that was down there in Wilshire, and we listed at 325, which I could prove it all day long when we listed last March.
Wow.
And I kept those people completely informed 2 times, sometimes 3 times a week of what's going on. And we're watching the market and the value wasn't decreasing, but we had no showings. And so eventually we all had to come to the realization that that house was not worth 325, it's worth 260. And that's where we sold it last week. But they are still writing me a raving review for having their house on the market for a year.
Wow.
Because the market changed while we were listing.
Right.
The market was
Market's
changing.
always changing. Yeah, and I think that's where not the challenge. Well, I guess it's a challenge
It's a
for realtors. It's like, you feel like your house is near gold, but it's not. But and how do you convey that in a way that's very objective? And I think you do that with data. Yeah.
You have to. And that's why I'm such a data guy. You guys always call me a data head, but that's why because if I can prove it, it's true. And that's what we have to do as realtors. We have to show them, well, yes, your house is priced correctly according to the appraised value, but nobody's getting showings at that. Maybe we need to get right below that so that we can attract somebody to come close to that appraised value. And that's my next step with the house in Tahoma Ridge, is if we don't see showings by the end of next week, because you have to take into consideration culture, and it's graduation week. At the end of school.
Mother's Day.
It's the beginning of summer. So you've got to give people time. But next week, we're going to be looking at from 375 to 369. That's going to be my suggestion.
So do you do five grand increments, or just depending on the house?
Depends. This particular one, I think 369 would put us below what everybody else is doing. I'll show you.
Because really the goal, as long as the net is fairly. That's the other thing that you have to contend with, is what they're expecting after the sale.
So there's only one that's active option. There's one that's pending on Red Bluff. But here, this is us right here.
But all those houses for sale.
Yeah, they're all for sale and in the same neighborhood. But it's Tahoma Ridge. And it's right off of 35. So
Yeah.
I'm really big at 2,400 square foot, 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. This one is 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, and this one, you can't see the price. Hang on. Okay. So this one is down the street from us, but they got a 3-car garage. I've got 2,400 square foot. That's the difference, and we're priced the same. So do you want a 3rd-car garage, or do you want 2,400 square foot? But next week, this will go from 375 to 369. then I'll be the best deal in Tunnel Ridge.
Why don't you just go like that?
That's what I was gonna ask, why are you waiting?
Because they wanted 390.
Oh my God.
Do they want 390 or do they want to sell?
That's the argument.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
this is, let me show you that 375 is not going to work.
That's fair.
I'm gonna give you a couple of
How long
weeks
have you been at 375?
since we listed, 13 days.
Oh, okay, and my brain.
Two weeks tomorrow.
Okay.
So 2 weeks at 375. We'll go 3 because of the culture, because of school.
Yep.
I'll go 3 weeks in, but now, do you want to sell or do you want to sit and wait?
Right.
Because we're not expecting house prices to just absolutely ascend during the summer.
But that also depends on where they're going after the sale, right? Are you buying for them too?
No, they already bought and built. They already moved. This is
Oh.
after the fact.
Oh.
So they can wait on it because they've already
To a
bought.
certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't wait a year, but they can wait 4 months and be okay.
Okay.
So there's almost time, everything in real estate is time versus money.
Yeah,
You've got the time,
absolutely.
you can wait on the money. If you need the money, you give up the time.
That's right.
That's the bottom line. So that's the way that my brain works on like that, if that makes sense to you. Okay, let's go on to something else because I'm sorry.
No, I think that's great.
Wins, mistakes, lessons, and shout outs.
I have to run really quickly, but I was just gonna share, and everybody knows this, I think, but I think we also don't do it, or at least I don't. And I'm really grateful on this transaction that I did put everything in writing, like have an email chain for everything, even if you have a phone call, go back for our conversation. Here's what we talked about. I had an agent this week call me, berate me, yell at me, cuss at me, tell me I was a liar, tell me I was a schemer, deceitful, like to the point where I asked him to stop. He said no, so I just hung up on him. Obviously looped Brian and Jimmy in, and they sort of de-escalated the situation. And having everything in writing isn't necessarily changing the outcome, but I think for all of us, I think our whole team really tries to operate with integrity, and I was able to go back and look at the original email chain where we did all of our negotiations, where we were all in agreement, everything was amicable, everything was cut and dry, there was no confusion, and just say, okay, like, I didn't fund this. Like, I'm totally open to being wrong. I'm totally open to have made a mistake. And that was not the situation here. And if the pushback continues, I'm going to just forward the email chain to all of the parties and say, here's what happened. If there was a misunderstanding, that's a different thing, but it was all very clear. Like, to the point where last night he's asking for receipts on a repair that we didn't agree to. Like, it's not in the amendment. It's not, it just is a mess. And we're supposed to close Friday. And so, like, the brokerage is handling some stuff for the sellers. Like, I've stepped in and helped with the sellers. And so just kind of that reminder of, like, you don't ever want to assume the worst in people, but we have to cover ourselves and make sure that we have documentation of everything. And then I'm gonna give myself a shout out because I've had a really crappy year, like the last year. Didn't have a closing from October to April. And in April I had 4, and this month I'll have 5.
Wow.
And so it's just like a testament to, well, I don't need that, but like just a testament to, like, keep pushing, like keep going.
Get those boots, girl.
Yeah. I bought the Tacovas. I don't love them, but they're fine. I tried the Blue Faces on. I tried them on. I didn't like them. I liked the Tacovas more than Blue Faces. And Jamie said I couldn't buy the single. So she said you cannot buy that. We're making good decisions this year, I guess. But just kind of a reminder also to, like, we work on a sales cycle. There are ups and downs, and just to keep moving forward because it will pay off. Yeah.
And I think that cycle for some agents that are not producing, I think those are the ones that are not very nice. not professional, not courteous, and those are the ones that were.
Yeah, I've had some crazy ones this year. Like,
We've,
I think we all have, like, we need to start
the broker just had
a
some pretty
Slack channel of
significant
just, here's our crazy.
sellers this year.
We should.
Buyers and sellers, we've had some characters this year.
I think they're all just on edge after all of the drama and people still haven't had enough transactions to understand that like really nothing has changed and we can all get through this together.
Yeah.
And they're all just like,
I always,
high alert.
I always use the tug of war theory. It's like, hey, we've all got to pull the same way to get this to closing. Yes, I know we're representing two different people, but if all of us don't pull the exact same direction, this is not going to happen.
And
So let's
one
pull
goal.
together.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing. And I even told Jimmy that last week when I called him on this. I said, you know, again, if I made a mistake, I'm totally open to that. Like, I am always someone come to me if I've made a mistake. I want to find solutions. I want to get it across the finish line. But that was not the approach of the situation. Like, there was just no, hey, I think there was a misunderstanding, miscommunication.
Right.
What can we do to make this right? It was just
Got it.
point the finger. Yeah, point the finger. I mean, I hate the word to like bullying, but that's what it was. Like, he was just being a bully and he got his way. And whatever, we're closing, but it just, yeah, I mean, to approach it as a win-win situation, like my client has a goal, your client has a goal, why would we not work together on that?
So can you tell us the address of this agent so we can all go egg his house?
Yeah, well, no, literally my client was like, is there a recourse for, like, are you able to do something about this? And I was like, yeah, I mean, technically I can report him, but there's no phone call. Seller can report him, yeah.
And was he was just rude?
No, I mean, he like called me and was rude, and then it just sort of escalated to the point where he was like, name call, like just calling me deceitful and shady and not forthcoming, and I'm manipulative and I'm twisting words, and you're everything but a liar. And then it escalated to like, then he was shouting at me. And then he started cussing at me. And at that point, I was like, hey, I'm gonna need you to not speak to me like that. And he said, no, I'm gonna speak to you however I want to speak to you. And that's when I hung up on him. And then he started texting me and emailing me. And I was like, I just told you I'm not speaking with you anymore. Like, I wasn't lying about that. So you can talk to my broker, you can talk to the company owner. I'm not playing that game.
Well, when it gets to that point, it's almost like
There's nothing
it's
rational.
scary, but it is
Yes.
scary. Like, it does feel very, I had an agent like that. And I had to pull in every email and
Mhm.
text message that had my broker on it moving forward because I wasn't going to be bullied like that
Exactly.
anymore. But I did feel like, do they know where I live? Like,
Right.
is it gonna be, it feels so threatening.
Yeah, it is. And that was
Invasion.
my thing with Brian. I was like, take real estate out of it. Like, it is never okay for
Yeah.
anyone to talk to each other that way, but like a grown man to assert himself over me in that manner, I just don't do all of that. I don't, some women might, I do not. And I'm not going to be into that. So,
I don't think so.
That's hard.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It is.
I'm gonna share a podcast. I'll put it in Slack, but it's on the Diary of a CEO podcast, DOC.
Yes.
But he's interviewing this trial attorney, and it's all about like speaking and dealing with like angry and rude people. And so, anyway, there's some really good like practical. Also, it was I listened to it twice.
Sure.
But one of the things is like when someone's being like really rude or belligerent, you like the whole thing is you like try to breathe and be calm.
Yeah.
Then you say, "Can you repeat what you just said?" Because it like forces them to like say the rude thing again. And it's like, did you mean for that to sound?
Yeah.
And like then they have to say the intent. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's just some like cool little like tricks in there. But,
Yeah.
like,
Self-realization. I follow that guy too. His
Yeah.
podcasts are long.
yeah, man. I'll say this one. It was like, but there, and it's really good just like dealing with people and it was
Well, and that's funny because I actually just like read the how to influence or how to win friends and influence people.
Oh,
Like
Bill
I just
Carnegie.
finished that and I was like, there's also just no reasoning with unreasonable people.
Yeah,
Like
some
there's
people are
also
just
that.
crazy.
Like you just can't reason with someone who their intention is not to problem solve.
Right.
And that was why I was like, you're so emotional about this that we're not going to get anything done.
I thought it was good to just hang up the phone.
Yeah, that's what I did. I was like, I'm not playing this game, but anyways.
You have your boundaries.
Yeah, for sure.
I was, really, really thankful for all the ongoing conversations that we've had about the paragraph, what is it? Agreement and broker to broker and seller to broker and like the weeks and weeks that we talked about it, because I had an agent call me on my listing, and the first question out of his mouth was, do you have any offers? And I said, no, but we've had, lots of showings, lots of interest. And then he said, what's your BAC? And I said, well, this is a seller to broker. So just write it in the offer and I'll present it to the seller. And he was like, what? He goes, what kind of commission are they paying? And I said, I don't know. Please just write it in the offer. And he literally, kind of the same thing, went off on me for 5 minutes. He kept asking the same question over and over and over again. And I just kept having to say to him, this is not a broker to broker. This is a seller to broker. Please write it in the offer. Paragraph 12, I will present it to the seller. And he wouldn't have it. He was cussing at me. He was screaming at me. He goes, I'm not going to show your listing then because I said, then you're not representing your buyer very well. I said, and you can do whatever you want. I said, that's on you. If you're not going to show it, that's totally on you. I said, but I can't give you information that I don't have. And I've already told you what I have in my listing. Literally for 5 minutes. And finally I was like, I don't know what to tell you. He said, I've done a dozen deals since this settlement and I've never had an agent not tell me what the commission is. And I said, well, that's not my problem. It was just.
But you knew who you were and what you were doing.
Yeah. And,
awesome.
And finally I was like, well, I just don't think that you understand the listing agreement. And he's like, yes, I do. You just don't want to tell me what they're willing to pay. And I think you're shady and you're probably the worst agent that I've ever. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. You have a good day. Show it if you want. Don't show it if you want. I don't care.
That's great.
I'm
glad that we've had those conversations where we understand the difference in the paragraphs.
Exactly.
When you're like that, you're like, oh God, I hope he doesn't put in an offer.
Yeah, exactly. If he has a scheduled showing, and I'm like, okay, that's on you.
What does he tell his buyer?
Like, when he told me, he was like, I'm just gonna have to tell my buyer that they're gonna have to pay my commission. And I said, I never said that. And like, he kept saying stuff. He's like, so you're telling me that the seller's not gonna pay out any commission? I said, never said that. I said, you need to stop putting words in my mouth. I said, I have told you, put it in your offer and I will present it to the seller. I said, they are aware of all the different scenarios that an offer might entail. Sales price, closing date, commission, like seller concessions. He's like, well, I can't go to my buyer and ask them to pay my commission. I said, I didn't ask you to go to your buyer and tell them to pay your commission. That's on you.
What's in your buyer?
Yeah, that's on you.
To frame that, I have said, because I'm doing usually broker to broker, I'm usually saying my seller is willing to pay up to 3% BAC with an acceptable offer.
That's exactly what I was saying.
But
you're not doing that.
I wasn't broker to broker.
Right, you're
I
seller
was
to broker.
seller to broker. So I had nothing in my listing agreement. So I'm not.
You can't say anything
I can't
because
say
it's not there.
anything.
Yeah.
No.
It's sad that people are.
But they aren't.
Well, it all
bullies.
comes down to money.
They're bullies and they think that if
It all comes down to money for them.
I think Tasha posted something on Slack yesterday about don't let it worry you or whatever. And I thought it was timely for me because my neighbor across the street, I think I felt so deceived because I thought they were my friends and they knew I'm now a realtor and retired from nursing or whatever. And they waited until I was on vacation. They listed their house with another. So, yes, exactly. You know, it's like, it's not even, my husband's really upset, and I told him it's okay. You know, it's just, there's houses of homes to list.
There may be some other reason that they listed with another agent.
Yeah.
But no, exactly. But here's the thing that really, grates him. It's like, they should have at least given you the opportunity to talk to them, because first of all, I thought we were friends.
Mhm.
So.
Have you been advertising to them? Have
Yes,
you
they
done stuff?
know. Yes.
Yeah, you can't let those kinds
You
of
can't.
things. I always say to myself, some people don't use you because they don't want
Yeah.
that relationship. They want that person to be
that's
much
okay.
further.
Transactional.
Yeah.
They just-
Yeah.
They don't want you
Okay.
knowing their personal life. They don't want you knowing their finances. They don't want you knowing whatever, and you have to be okay with it. Or it could be a family member, or the person that they listed with could be a little bit closer of a friend than you, or they could have done business with, you just have to say to yourself, the next one's coming my way. And,
Right, absolutely.
And
there's probably a reason.
yeah.
Oh, there's always a
But it still feels personal.
It does.
It's still.
Especially I get out of the house and I see a set. I just have to stop and reflect and, take over gratefulness and, just recite all over that, wash myself with it. But
And
it's
if they-
hard.
And if they ask you something, it's like, well, I hope I agree.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
why my husband's really upset about it, because every single resource that they've had to fix their house, it's been you.
Mm. Yeah.
Every
that's-
single
that's-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, you
anyway.
can still reach out and say, hey,
No,
I hope off now.
no.
Or see, I always then kill them with kindness, because you never know.
He
And they
did.
could still refer you to somebody else, like it didn't work out for me.
I would go and get a sign made and put it in my front yard that says, I can show you that house. And go in there and you know, well, my moment's just 21. I was looking at listing a house, 3 doors down from him, when we were at Remax. And he found out about it and had one of his agents go over there and literally do the deal for free, because he didn't want to have a Remax sign on his street at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, you do what you want to do. That's right.
But yeah, I would probably say, I would put a sign that says, I can show you that house, and have an arrow pointing across the street. That'd be awesome. And you could sell it. Oh, and then work them
Yeah,
over
I mean,
in
I
transaction
would reach out.
negotiations.
yeah. I didn't confront because it's.
Yeah,
You should.
I know. I'm just pointing. It's always fun to think about them.
I know. I'm
just
sure
have-
Grandma would love
I've
that.
had these past buyers that were still, they worked at Chewy's, all the things, known forever. They called me and asked me if I could watch their kids on Sunday because they needed a date day and their in-laws canceled or whatever. And I was like, sure, that's fine, it's great, whatever. So, kids are there, whatever. He comes to pick up the kids, and I had done your CMA thing. So that's my project that I've been working on, my business plan. And so I was like, hey, you should be getting this thing in the mail, blah, blah, blah. I know it's going to see them. And he was like, oh, it's so funny because I had a realtor friend at work that ran me. And I just looked at him and I was like, Caleb, and he goes, no, I would never. I was like, then come to me and ask me, so that's where you have to keep this guard on these people, because they don't get it. They don't understand how it all works all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they bought a couple years ago, but they are having their second kid now. So I know that it's going to be turning soon. They're going to sell by. So I'm like, so that's lesson learned of checking out kind of for the 9 months that I was working. I was still doing stuff, but not staying on top of it. And now I'm rushing in to make up for that time. Man, I got to get back into the swing of things.
Guys, I'm gonna call it. Victoria, thank you for joining us. It was good to see your moniker on there. Kristen, Ashley,
Thanks.
Kaya.
Happy to be here.
We would love to see you guys at the office sometime, but we will talk to y'all later. We'll call that a meeting. Thank y'all.
No clue.
Is there a clue? Is there a meeting? Already. Yeah.
Oh,